And ladies and gentlemen, we will move on full steam ahead with our next session. The next session, we will hear from Mr. Beniamin Mincu, the CEO and co-founder of MultiversX, which is a company that is considered to have cutting-edge blockchain network. He will be discussing the topic of metaverse as well as gaming. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Hello, it's a great pleasure to be here. I'm Beniamin Mincu, co-founder and CEO of MultiversX, and we've come all the way from Europe to have this great conversation in Seoul, Korea. First of all, before going into the presentation, I'd like to just ask 2-3 questions of the audience to get a sense of where people are coming from. And the first question would be just very briefly, I'm curious who here in the audience has played with ChatGPT at least once since it came out. If you can raise one hand. Okay, quite a few people. Another question, who here in the audience has played with any type of metaverse device? AR, VR, XR. Okay, quite a few people as well. And then the last question, I'm also curious who here in the audience has owned at least one crypto token, if you can raise your hand. Okay, quite a few people, quite a few people. Today, I'd like to talk to you a bit about how blockchains will underpin the society, economy during the next 10, 20, 30 years. And to do this, I'd like to discuss an idea that I believe is not too much discussed in the current conversation today. And this idea is that with the recent breakthroughs and advancements in artificial intelligence, whether it's large language models or transformers, we're going to very, very quickly see tools that are widely accessible that will very quickly blur the lines between reality and fiction. They will enable us to create and edit almost everything around us, whether it's documents, whether it's media, or any other type of information, with an ease that will be mind-blowing. At the same time, with this type of opportunities that will become available, there are also a number of challenges that we'll very likely face during the next 10 years and very likely during the next 2-3 years. One of these challenges will be how we tell what's true, how we tell what's real, and how we tell what's authentic. And my idea is that during the next period, very quickly, we're going to look at blockchains as this fundamental layer for society, without which society will not be able to function. It will be like having some type of tools around AIs that we'll call creation machines, and some type of computational platforms built on top of blockchains that we'll call truth machines. And in almost everything that we're trying to do, it will be necessary to have this new computer embedded that is transparent, that adds cryptographic guarantees, and adds programmable contracts, and enables us to not only defend against deepfakes, against different type of threats, but then also complementary access, automate, and work with them. And to do so, I'm going to tell you a bit about what we've been building at MultiversX. The idea with MultiversX started in 2017. At that point, the blockchain network was called Elrond, and we've essentially started from scratch and built a network that we believe is built for global and also interplanetary scale. And the ideas are very simple in some sense. We built this on adaptive state sharding, secure proof of stake. We can scale beyond hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. The network is decentralized. We have more than 3,200 nodes geographically distributed around the world. We've had 100% uptime, and the network is fully carbon negative. Now, the key point here is that a network like this is built for global adoption. And so we've built some tools on top of the network that enable builders to build unlike any other network. We have a Rust framework that is considerably more secure, solves a lot of the design bugs that you currently find in other smart contract platforms. It's very usable. It also filters for a different type of developers that are looking for this type of secure mindset. We have tokens that are embedded at protocol level, which means they work a lot faster, a lot more effective, and it provides a much better user experience for the user as well. And we have new type of tools, one of which we've unveiled just the last 2-3 weeks, which enable people to use AI to write smart contract, to test some of the smart contracts and iterate a lot faster in whatever they're trying to build. So this we've already done in the sense that the network is live, it's open source, and there's tremendous progress and adoption around the entire ecosystem. But we've also built some things that do not exist in any other protocol around the world. One of which is guardians with on-chain 2FA. So if the idea here is, in some sense, in the technology space, we've found some solutions that enable us to protect customers, protect users, and then in the blockchain space, in many ways, we're reinventing many of these solutions to protect users from theft, from scams, from just people coming in and stealing their funds. We've built an on-chain 2FA solution that essentially makes the wallet bulletproof, such that scammers cannot just take the user's money. Then the second point is we've designed sovereign chains, which is this toolkit that enables businesses, startups, or any type of builders to take everything we've built in MultiversX, design their own blockchain, customize their own features, and use blockchain in their own particular way, in a way that could not have been done before. Zero-knowledge rollups and zero-knowledge proofs will be embedded at the core of MultiversX, and we've just unveiled with a very important strategic partner that we're going to build a universal zero-knowledge rollup that will span not only on MultiversX, but will connect several blockchains and possibly all of them at a later point in the future. So we've built all of this because we want to reach the next billion users. Unless we think about the next billion users, we will not find the real solutions that will enable us to accelerate this type of adoption. And to do so, we've built a lot of bridges that can significantly accelerate adoption. Some of these bridges we've built, for instance, with governments, with ministers and so forth that we've had at one of our conferences just recently. Several ministers of country present, sharing their thoughts and insights on blockchain technology and how this may evolve and play out. But we've also unveiled some very strategic collaborations and partnerships with Google, with Tencent, with Deutsche Telekom, with AWS, and with Axelar, which is this interoperability partner that bridges several blockchains around the world. But the key point to understand is we're not alone. In fact, we have a tremendous ecosystem that is expanding really, really fast with builders coming in and targeting different verticals. So we're extremely excited by the momentum we're seeing and by the adoption we're seeing play out. So to move one step further, I'd like to double-click on some applications that exist within the ecosystem that we've built that, again, pave the way for a different type of adoption. And to do so, I'll just briefly touch on these three applications. First of all, Xalias. Xalias is essentially a Web3 single sign-on onboarding application, which what it does is it enables anyone to log into a dApp with just one click if they have a Google email. So if they have the Google email in the backend, there will be automatically a wallet created that is non-custodial, fully user-owned, that enables any user to just use the dApps without having to think about the different layers, having to learn about the different layers, and focusing on the thing that they really love, that they really enjoy. Another application that is really exciting and interesting that brings this technology to clear usage is Xmoney. And Xmoney just enables crypto and fiat payments in a very simple and streamlined way, whether it's for businesses, whether it's specifically for merchants. Merchants can essentially accept crypto, receive crypto as a settlement, or receive fiat as a settlement directly in their bank, do so in a streamlined and simple way. And we're super excited about the number of merchants that we're seeing adopt this technology. Moving one step further, I do believe that there's one thing that differentiates the MultiversX ecosystem, and this is the very clear focus on user adoption, on user experience, on safety. And we've put a lot of effort on this. This is why we've also built separately a financial super app that is positioned to serve billions of users. And this super app has a bunch of different features that we'll get very briefly into. You'll see crypto, you'll see cash, you'll see cards and stuff like that. You'll see the idea of Xworlds, which is a toolkit to build games or experience within this new space that you'll get distribution to. And you'll also see that we already have more than 1.5 million users, and this application is fully live. So double-clicking on this, you'll see here that the user experience looks very, very different. We've put a lot of heart and a lot of mind into this to make sure that our users from all over the world can enjoy this type of user experience. And what's extremely exciting is not only is this wallet non-custodial, bulletproof in that sense, nobody being able to touch your crypto, but it also has a card attached to it. And I think this idea of moving outside of only the crypto space and moving into the physical world within the economy is extremely exciting to us. This is why for more than 2-3 years, we've been investing heavily in building the bridges with the central banks, a few central banks in Europe, under which we have close supervision and have unveiled and launched a card, a debit card that is directly approved by the central bank. This is something remarkable because it opens the path for something much larger that we're building and that we're moving forward towards. Now, in this super app, we also have 3D avatars. We also have AI that is already working into the app and enables every user to create their own avatar. And then what's even cooler, to log into different applications with this avatar and store their digital assets into the wallet and easily navigate between different worlds. Moving one step further, only 3-4 weeks ago, we've unveiled the first platform for metaverse and spatial computing experiences built on a blockchain and streamlined to work with this super app. And what this really does is it enables an app store for virtual worlds. It offers an Xworld's developer kit so that everyone can build their own applications and leverage the super app, and ensures a distribution channel. Because within this super app, we have this app store called the Hub, where users can find the coolest applications from the entire ecosystem, and developers can list their applications. But then they can also find some extremely useful toolkit to ensure that they can navigate logins, that they can work with the wallet, and do so in the most secure way for the users. Now, this Xworld's developer kit has a few different components, as I have mentioned. There's an avatar SDK already compatible with Unity and Unreal. There are some developer tools that enables anyone to create their own experiences. There will be a creator marketplace specifically for virtual assets. Some of them are made, for instance, for the avatar that you might want to customize, some of them for the different worlds that are being played with. There's a mystery box SDK, and interestingly enough, we've launched a first version of a game 2-3 weeks ago, where users straight from the conference went outside to discover some things planted around the city, and then could claim some NFTs, and the NFTs, they would learn about the city, would visit some places, and could claim some NFTs directly in their wallets. Now, even more interesting, there is a wallet integration that is embedded, that enables anyone who builds these experiences to leverage the Xportal super app and to make this entire experience very simple, very exciting, and very compelling for the user. And then there's also the distribution that happens within this super app. Now, zooming out a bit, there's a lot that we're doing at MultiversX. The network is this big platform on top of which we'll see extraordinary applications being built. We already see some of these applications. We're putting a lot of tooling there, and with the super app and some of the other applications that connect this digital infrastructure to the real world, I believe we're going to see a very accelerated adoption rate during the next period. So what I think becomes extremely interesting is that the world even more will basically be split between consumers that basically test these applications, play with them, test them in many, many ways, and grow with the applications. And then there will be builders. And the builders take risks. Builders go through difficult phases to build whatever they build is whatever they believe is necessary for the world to see, for the world to be improved on. And the idea is that at the end of the day, builders are the ones who change our lives and improve them in tremendous ways. It is the builders that we will remember, that society will remember, and that the world will remember. And I believe that our future is determined by how many consumers become contributors and builders. And this is what we're trying to do with MultiversX and with the tools that we're putting on. So the question is then, how do you start whatever you're trying to build, whether you're a company, a startup, or just a developer looking to build on these tools? How do you start? Where first we have an idea that is very simple, which is you need to find the needs that exist around you. And to do so, we have this very interesting community initiatives, town halls where you discover what's happening within the ecosystem, dev sessions, validator sessions, DeFi sessions, NFT sessions, and so forth. But moving one step forward, you want to discover the technology, to start playing with it. And to do so, we have some channels where you can engage with other builders. You can see the Discord channel, the Telegram channel, validator channel, Stack Overflow, and so forth. All these resources are already available. And then you also want to start building. We always have hackathons. We had one of the largest hackathons in Europe just a few weeks back. We'll have hackathons every quarter, probably moving forward. We have incubators, accelerators, launchpads, and a lot of VCs that are part of the ecosystem waiting to support you and look at what you're building. Moving one step forward and concluding, I believe that the next Amazon and Google are perhaps just one smart contract away. They will be built on blockchains, they will leverage artificial intelligence, and will also span within the metaverse, where we'll see the blockchain underpin not only our current society, the physical society, but we'll also see it underpin these new worlds that we're going to build. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beniamin Mincu, for that very intriguing presentation, providing food for thought. I think a lot of our online viewers had a lot of questions for you as well. So I'm going to pick and choose a couple of the questions that we had online. So here is the first question related to metaverse and identity. So on the metaverse and identity, some of the biggest benefits that you can get is the anonymity factor. However, in order to prove that a true human being is behind that, you will at some point ultimately have to connect that with a true identity at some point. That's what this person is saying. But on this point, what do you think about the anonymity benefit as well as trying to prove that there is a true person behind it? Your thoughts?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. I believe there will be two worlds that will coexist in this space when it comes to identity, especially in virtual worlds. One path will be very clear and very simple in the sense that people will try to apply all the means that we have up until this point, where it's KYC, all the measures, especially when you're starting to use financial services that are specialized, applied, and exist not only in the virtual world, but in the physical world as well. So there will be this space that becomes much clearer and mimics some of the services that we see at this point. And then there will be a large space where pseudonymous identities, whether it's nicknames, aliases, and so forth, will exist, of course. There will be zero-knowledge technology that will enable the privacy aspects and the expansion of this. And I also believe that people will have to opt for the different options. But almost every platform that we'll see built will probably leverage both, because there will be users that just want to do a KYC and then have all the financial services attached to their identity. Then there will be users that only want to play around in the digital space and would like to preserve some type of privacy that cannot be done, especially if you want to tie it to financial services. So I think solutions exist for both paths, and it will be very much a conversation between the regulators and the technology being implemented and how it's applied to the use cases. But I'm excited about the solutions because both of them are there.
So a two-track system and a double-layer system and maybe a mixture of both, I
Yes,
guess. All right,
exactly.
thank you so much. One more question from the online world. I'm curious about the metaverse development direction and some of the trends that you're particularly eager to see.
Sure. So I believe that during the next period, as we've unveiled, we'll see a lot of interplay between blockchains underpinning these new worlds that are created, then metaverse worlds with clear rules for value exchange, for value creation that are built on top of the blockchain, and then AIs that just accelerate the iteration game. This is why we've enabled X-Worlds. X-Worlds should be at first this gameplay where you enable augmented reality games around the cities, around the different geographical locations, and having a wallet with digital identity that you can interplay with will enable users not only to, let's say, play a game in the virtual world, but to connect to the real world, to discover new things, to enrich the real world, and play around that. I do believe that we'll have even more exciting use cases in the metaverse space as well, with spatial computing technology, new spatial computing technology coming out. But people will probably take the entire space more seriously once it has a great connection to the blockchain that gives it proper rules. And this is what we are trying to do with X-World specifically, to accelerate this type of adoption and see what games, what experiences people come with almost immediately. Because I don't think there's a question that blockchains, AI, or the metaverse will shape society during the next 10 years. The question is only, do we participate actively in this space? And this is why we're providing the tools.
Sounds like an ideal world. All right. I want to ask if there are any questions from the floor. There are some more questions online, but first I'd like to give a chance for anyone in the audience. If there are any questions from the audience, please raise your hand and I will give you a chance to ask. Oh, yes. Yes, from our head team, from team B or table B. Can we get a microphone, please? Yes. Mr. Fashola, go ahead.
Pretty short and sweet. How are you 100% carbon neutral?
Basically, we've offset everything that we've spent up until this point and much more. So we've calculated everything that we've spent up until this point. Every year, we're doing this exercise that we offset much more than we are actually spending and using. And this is why we're 100% carbon neutral. Okay. Carbon negative, I think, is actually a much better term.
Okay, cool. And second question is, when you talk about interplanetary movement, does that mean I can run your metaverse on Mars or something? Or what does that really mean?
The idea with building infrastructure that works at global scale or interplanetary scale is that essentially once you have this network that enables automatic transactions that cannot be counterfeited between any type of two parties, the only thing that you'll need to be able to make transfers or do exchanges on a different planet is internet. If you have internet, provided you